Hello guys, today we're going to be doing the tutorial on the coolest 540 block 5x5 piston door. Closes in 1.5 seconds, pistons in 1.75 seconds. I built this with Lamendo and Lugia 7 on the Synergy server. And this is the fastest one that has sync, I guess, at least for now. Because there is one that's faster. Lugia 7 made a 1.55 second version, but it's actually slowed on the closing and it's not quite as nice. I do have a right to call this the best 540 as of right now. I'll change the title if anything changes. This door is actually 1.16 only because it uses features like the target and putting redstone on pistons like this. It also uses scaffolding from 1.15, so that's another reason. There's quite a lot to explain with this one. I'll try to explain it as best I can. Maybe you'll learn something even if you're not building this door. Alright, so the space you're going to need is 9 by 4 by 15 tall. And we're going to start on the bottom layout, which is going to be a double extender on the bottom. Our frame is going to be right here. Just today I actually made a version that opens in 2.05 seconds that has a layer cut off the bottom, so it's 504 blocks, which I think is kind of cool. It's also fully sync as well. I actually got it to 2.00 seconds, but that's not synchronized, because I couldn't quite get that one. I don't know, I'm still working on it though. Hopefully I can get it to 1.95. Alright, so we're going to be storing 4 blocks on the bottom like this. We're going to have our side pistons right here. Oops. And we're going to have a flush quadruple extender on the top. Like this. And because of this, we're going to need to power pistons at this level right here. And we can do it on either side by using the fact that this side piston block is going to be away, so you're going to have something like this. We can push this down and it'll be stored away like this when the door is open. So we'll have this on either side, but we still need to do the middle one, which we can accomplish with this really nice setup right here. We're going to push this observer over and then power it down like this. So that's how we're going to power these. Alright, so we're going to start with the input block on the top here, right there. I have a note block, which is going to be updating this sticky piston. Also, this block was solid in the showcase, which is funny. Didn't realize that before I started it. So we're going to run this right down to this, and also this is instantaneous. So we can get a pulse down here in exactly 2 ticks, because we're going to be using repeaters right here. Also make sure we have movable blocks for this. And we're going to be using repeaters for this for one specific reason, and that's because they have a lower tile tick priority, which is something you might not know about. It means that basically something that's being powered with a repeater will always be powered or unpowered before something else. So I demonstrate this with this test setup here, because this repeater right here, we use this to get our instant retraction. So you can see, use something like this, and that'll allow us to have the top go at maximum speed, which will be 1.75. Well, not maximum speed, but without using 0 ticks, of course. We use 1 0 tick, and that's to give ourselves better tile tick priority, but I'll explain that later. So, I'm going to run this down into a slab, but glass is just colorized slabs, I guess. Just run this around like this, and into a hopper. This is non-solid and immovable, so these don't push out at the wrong time. So we need to power this section right here 3 times for the door to work. So we get the second one by taking this down into a note block, into a piston, up into this, and then we get our third one, taking an output from this note block across into a hopper. Just going to get detected by this observer, and that'll give us our third one. So now when we power this, we get 3 pulses. We also need to power this line of pistons right here, which we can do with this input right here. Have an observer facing upwards right here for later. Oops. I'll just grab a detector, or an activator rail. I have a horrible habit of calling them detector rails. They're actually activator rails, these trigger observers. So that'll power those. And now we just have to power these pistons right here, and these ones down here, which we can do by having a piston right here, another piston right here being updated, which will power this observer into the block, and we'll detect this piston And place a block right here, which will both power this top one, and we'll bud this one, so we need an updater here. We'll update it with this piston, and we'll have the same thing on the other side. Piston, observer, block. So that'll power those ones. Now we just have to power these at the right time, just once, because we can't power them always, because there's nothing really here to stop them from pushing out when the door is full like this. So we have to power them only once. Oops, I just clicked the no block. And then we can take an output from that to a repeater. We'll push this observer right here over into this block to power that, and then we'll just have this normal piston here to reset it later. So this will only push over once. And then for this side, it's a little bit easier because we have just a singular pulse coming from here. You can use this to go like this. And we can actually start on part of the side circuit right here. Right here. So we're going to power the bottom two here with this. Oh wait, we take a signal up first. Power the bottom two with this right there. Go up into another rail into this right here. That'll power all those in sync. For this one, we're going to need a slider. We can just fill this in for now. We're going to have a piston right here. That'll have glass right here. Observer, glass, two more observers, and then one more glass like this. Piston right there being powered by that. We'll have two blocks right here. This one will have dust on top, so that'll power all those at the right time. And while we're down here, we might as well just make a part of the quad extension. Just going to have a cauldron right here. This is going to be cyan. I'm going to have this. I'll explain this later. I have a piston right there. And so basically this will power down at the beginning, and then when it goes back up, it'll be in sync with these. So now all that's left to do is the double piston extender circuit to push all the blocks up at the end. So we do that, and actually it activates slightly faster on the closing if we do something like this. So that's how we got the nice closing animation. Need a repeater on an observer actually, facing downwards. So what happens is on the closing, this goes through into this repeater before this gets a chance to move out of the way. And then on the opening, this goes through first, and then this comes up a bit later to allow the time for the top to finish. So we can just power this. So if we give this system right here 2 1-tick pulses, it will work fine. You can, I don't know if I can test that. Whatever, it works. We have this air gap, and also we have to push this over at the end with that. Also, don't forget this obsidian right here. This is necessary, as well as this one, for these not to push down during the closing, because we do power them. Just fill those in. So yeah, that is the bottom done. We can test this right here. Closing, it works. This won't do anything because it never actually gets pushed down. And we'll get a sort of partial opening because we never have the top to push it down. It double extends like that. Now we can just fill up our storage again right here. 3 blocks on this side, 3 blocks here, 3 blocks there, and 3 right there. All right, so now for the top, we're going to start on the input circuit first. This part uses some 1.16 features because we had to avoid the input bug, which is when anything like a repeater or something would, like this, for instance, would power faster than this one. Like if I flick the lever, I'll just remove this piston for now. Like if we flick this lever, this one would power faster, just barely. You can see right there, half a tick faster because of input bugs. So we have to run any observers or anything else from pistons, which is really, really annoying, to say the least. So we're going to run this up into a target block right here. And this is going to be controlling the 0-tick pulse that goes to this line right here. Oh, we can just fill this in right here to this line. So we're going to have a piston right here. That's going to be updating this one with an observer on its face right there. And so what's going to happen is on the closing, this is going to go up. And then on the opening, what we're going to do is we're going to update something right here in 3 game ticks. And then we're going to move this back, and this will extend in 3 game ticks with a slightly later priority, so this line right here gets powered like really quickly, and therefore instantly moves this line of pistons down to here, which allows us to update them at a later time to allow for the instant retraction of the storage. So that was probably a bit complicated. It's not really necessary to understand, but it's there. So right here we're going to use scaffolding to do this, because this piston extends in 3 game ticks, and then we'll update this scaffolding. So, oh yeah, one more thing, we need a repeater right here. Oops, that's a comparator. A comparator actually doesn't work this time, otherwise I would have just used it. Alright, so right there. And then a couple more things. I'm just going to run 2 observers like this for later. I'm going to have a block right. Actually, just put the 4-tick repeater first. Dust, red block. Then this right here, and this will allow for the instant extension for this line right here. It's just going to be blue. Too lazy to go in my inventory and grab it. So it'll extend this line instantly as soon as we unflick this lever, because this piston retracts its block. So one more thing, we need to extend this right here in 1 tick. We can do that by just having an observer here with a tripwire on it. So this directs into that, and we'll have a observer right there. And that'll power that one. Also, don't forget this dust for later. So now we can move on to getting these ones. So what we'll do for this one, we'll have 2 observers right here. This one will extend this in 1 tick. We'll have a block right here. We'll run this across to this one. So they all get powered in 1 tick. So then from here, we're going to power this right here into a repeater. And this is going to be extending this top row of pistons for the closing. Put an observer facing upwards here for later. Grab blue wool again, because this is mainly used in the retraction circuit. Something like this. And we can have 3 of these. So this will power this line right here with rails. Alright, let's finish off our quad extension circuit. So what we're going to need is a regular piston right here. Put a redstone block on it. Alright, so need to extend this dust line out to here. Then we're going to have this line of glass going all the way down. And this piston is extended so it doesn't push down in the closing, because this gets powered on both the opening and the closing. And this will be retracted when the door is closed, so it'll get a chance to push, and then it will actually go back up at the right time as well. So we're going to have this observer right here, into that line right there. And then we also need this right here. This observer will retract this piston right here at the right time. I'm going to run this up like this into this block that powers this, but it doesn't really matter because this is being powered at this level. It doesn't affect anything. Okay, so out from this observer right here, we're going to be placing a piston, and that'll be powering this observer right here, and we'll also be powering that right there. I just powered that by accident. Just reset it. Like that. And this will also retract this block at the right time. And then what we can do is actually, once this gets retracted, we can grab this right here to push this over at the right time. So this piston's in place, and then we can actually use the second pulse that goes through this line to, this observer's kind of tricky to place. Run an observer this way, so it actually powers this one instead, if we time it right. And all we have to do is use this double pulse that goes through this line and power this line again to finish off the quad retraction. Alright, one more thing to do is we have to retract this piston as well, and that's also why this dust is here. We actually use retracting this at the right time to get a pulse through here, and that actually works out perfectly for us. So now our door should be done. We can test it right here. And it looks nice. You can just fill in your door frame. So thank you for watching. I hope you're able to follow this tutorial. If you have any questions, just tell me below in the comments. I usually read them. And thanks for watching.
Hey shitass, wanna see me speedrun?